In this video, we'll have a look at the camera settings. So the camera is an object that you can add here from the Add menu with Shift A. You can find here the camera, okay? So here I will just create a new collection in my scene. You can see that I have this scene that we did see already. These objects are from the source file here that I have here, the demo files, okay, in the asset bundles in Blender. You can download this as well and play a little with it, but we will experiment that more in the training after in a dedicated chapter. So here what we have is our camera now collection, and I will add the camera. Okay, by default the camera comes in the center, so as other objects, and basically it comes from the view. Okay, so if I add a camera from here, for example, here, it will take the view, the original view that I had before. Okay, and so if you want to manage this like this, it's okay, but more or less before going through the camera settings, it's important to understand how to frame your scene with the camera, and it's very important to move easily your camera like that. First of all, when you add the camera, when you want to go in camera view, you go with the numpad 0. It's the camera view, this one, okay? Numpad 0 helps you to go to the camera view. But when you are in camera view and when you want to move your camera, for example, it's a little difficult to see how it works, to manage the view and how to frame. It's not very handy to manage with the usual shortcuts. So what you can do, the first thing you can do is you go through the view with your camera selected like that. And let's say you want to have this view. From the camera, you make Ctrl-Alt-0 and it will frame directly from the view. Then after with G, for example, you can move it a little to frame it exactly how you want. Okay? So this is the first thing that can help you. You turn around, you want to frame maybe this part here with there's objects over there, you center it and you make Ctrl-Alt-0 and it will give you that. Then after you can move it a little to frame it. This is the first possibility, but honestly what I like to do when I want to frame here a scene, I just go into view here with my camera selected into, not camera selected, but into camera view here, and I lock camera to view, and now I can use my camera view here that I zoom a little before activate that. Something like that will be good. So once you make the camera view to view option, you can just manage this exactly like the 3D view. So very important to understand how to frame something. It works even if the camera is not selected. Like for example, you want to frame this object, you make numpad dot here and it will work perfectly like that. Okay, and like this you can place your camera really how you want, where you want. And then after, when, for example, let's say I would like to frame it like that, maybe frame this, okay, and frame it a little like this. Okay, let's say I'm happy with that. So when I have framed what I want, I can unlock the camera to view, and now my camera is well located. Okay, so it's important to understand how to manage. There's two ways. So Ctrl-Alt-0, you turn around and you place directly, or you play with the camera to view option. Honestly, from the two, I use 90% camera to view. I prefer it. So yeah, this is the first thing to understand how to frame your view. Now you have, when you have the camera selected, you have the camera options here, and it's important to understand a few things before continue. So first of all, you have the type of camera. You have perspective, orthographic, and panoramic. So perspective will give you a perspective view as usual. Orthographic, you see that the camera did change and now I have an orthographic view there. I can manage the orthographic scale here if I want to zoom in, zoom out. But it's not really a zoom, it's just you scale this, something like that. Okay, and you have the panoramic view as well. So in object mode like that and not in rendered view, you will see nothing. But in rendered view here, not in EV but in cycles only, you will see the difference. You will see that it will make a 360 degrees panoramic view. It's a little like the images that are used in Google Map, in Google Street to navigate. You can turn around like this. So it's this kind of image that you will render. Honestly, it's really something that you will not use a lot, okay? It's more an equi-rectangular that is mostly used here for that, but it's a very specific thing here. So here, most of the time you will use perspective. And in perspective view, you have a lot of little options to understand. And first of all, it's the focal length, okay? Focal length, it's a little like a real camera. I don't know if you use real camera and real lenses. So if it's like this, it will be very easy to understand. But if not, you will have a few things to understand. Okay, the focal length here, it's kind of zoom. Okay, that more you make a little value here and more you will open the camera. The camera will not move. Okay, if I just see the camera here, the camera will not move. You just open the camera and you see here I close this angle. From top view we'll see it better. Okay, here something like that. So here I close this angle here and I cannot see, I can only see this part of the image. Okay, and here I open this angle and now I will have this kind of framing that will take all of the space here. So usually there are a few parameters that are linked to a specific case. So for example here you can use 50 millimeters, for example, for frame portraits, or maybe just natural view here inside, maybe inside. When you want to go outside, and you can open usually, or to use outside, to take outside architecture or to take outside landscapes or things like that, you can open usually to 25 or something like that, to take as much as you can with your camera. Okay, and when you want to zoom in, you can go until 150, for example. It's good to take this as if you were very far from the subject that you take. Okay, so more or less the three ways of taking things, you can use them like this. Okay, so you can take field of view as well, and now it's just the degrees that will change. It's just the angle of the camera that will change. But mostly when you work with cameras and when you know already cameras, you will use millimeters. Okay, so already it's important. The clip start and the clip end here is important as well. So you can play with the shift and it will move your camera up and down, but it's not really useful, this. I don't use it that much. The clip start and clip end is already something important to understand. Here we have a scene that is not that big, okay? As you can see, this object here, the item is 2 meters, so it's not really like reality, but it's 2 meters. So here it's the clip start and clip end. It means that the camera can take some informations starting from 0.1 meters. So for example, if I'm very close to the camera here, so for example, I will put this object very close of the camera like this. Okay. And you can see that I see inside. Okay. And so it means I cannot take some informations. These informations here will not be taken here. So in some cases when you are very close, or if you have a very big here landscape or things like that, sometimes you can increase. Here it's 1 kilometer, it's already a lot, but sometimes you can increase that to have more, to take more space, to take more more space to the inside the camera here. Okay, so here the sensor fit by default is 36 millimeter. Usually we don't change this that much, but again, if you are used to play with the cameras and photography here, you can change here this, and you will have a lot of possibilities to change some presets here as well. Okay, so it's important to take it in consideration. You can play with presets, for example. So here by default it's a little not far from the here for people that are used to play with Canon here, ASPC or SPH. So yeah, you can play with the settings, or you can come back to the default one. If there is a default one, it was just an auto as 36 here millimeters. Okay, good. So you have the safe areas that you can play with. For example, here it's more for printing this. It will give you some lines here outside that gives you the safe areas to not add some informations. Maybe sometimes when you make some printing, it will be cut more or less here. There will be a little marge here. So yeah, usually you can take that in consideration when you make some printing. If not, it's not useful, honestly. You can add an image as well. For example, you can add whatever image you did here in the background. And when you have an image like that in the background, you can maybe play with something you want to reproduce or add some reference as well. But usually it's for really specific cases, this for the background image here. And the viewport display, we will come back to it, especially with the limits and the mist maybe during the training. And you have one that is very important, is the composition guides here. So it's important to understand how to frame something, how to frame a scene, and how to focus on one object, on one subject. For example, let's say it will be this my subject. And so for example, something that works very well is the third, like that. You can see that now I have lines that take a third of the height and of the camera, and now you can here just focus on a point that the lines are crossing like this. So for example, I will just put my object here, okay? And now I know that mostly this image will work better than just in the center like this. It's not really interesting. There is no depth of field for this. So yeah, here we can see that we still have some space to represent the environment here outside. So yeah, it looks good like this. Or you could frame it like that, but in that case it will not work because most of the environment is here. So it's better here. It's more beautiful. Okay, so you have the center, so a classic one. You have the diagonal as well. You have the ratio, the golden ratio here that can help you as well. So you have a few ones that can help you. Mostly the third works better here, in my opinion. for make photography. It works very, very well, and it's simple to understand. You have these 4 possibilities to add your subject to the crossing line here, so it's very easy to understand. And we have here the depth of field. So the depth of field will be something that I will cover in an entire video, in the next video actually. And that's it for the camera options. So yeah, don't hesitate a little to play with this. Add a camera, add imagine a framing that you want, and make it with the little options that I did show you. Yeah, and for sure, for now, something that we didn't see yet, but it's not in the camera options. Here we have the format. So the format by default is just 120 from 1080, so 1920 so to 1080. So it's number of pixels. This one is HD, so it's a classical one. You can play with different here presets that you have. You can enter new presets if needed. So by default it will be this. Let's say you would like a portrait framing, for example. You will invert this value maybe, or maybe put something like this here, 1600, 1200 here, and you will have this kind of framing. Okay, so yeah, this one was important to cover as well. So yeah, it's not in the camera settings here, it's in the format. So like this, you will have the framing that you want really. And in the next video, we will have a look on how to use depth of field to really make something with a photographic look.